If you have a leaking 3.0 Duramax with an oil leak, this is going to be the video for you. Now what happened was I got an email from someone about a very large oil leak that they have. So I want to answer that email as well as go in super deep on all of the oil leaking locations of the 3.0 Duramax. But let's go ahead and pull up that email first. So Andy says that he had a transmission failure at 120,000 miles. So when going in there to do that, he went ahead and did the oil pump belt, which is definitely recommended because it's due at 150,000 miles or 200,000 miles, depending on your year of vehicle. Now in 23, they upped it from 150 to 200,000 miles. So I do have a video on the total cost of that if anybody's wondering. Link will be in the description of this video. However, let's stick to our oil leaks. All right, so he replaced the rear main seal 2 times and this rear cover plate 1 time. I don't know the order in which that he did that, but he's asking for assistance because he has to go back in there and take a look at what could be leaking. So before we go into the other oil leaks, let's take a look at Andy's issue and see if we can help him out on this. Now what we have in front of us is a picture that I took of one that was getting new timing chains, but this is perfect because this plate that we're looking at right here goes over all of these components. So let's go back to the plate. Now when you buy a new plate, it actually comes with a seal installer, and it's critical to install that correctly. Now what it is in the center of it, there's a plastic piece. You pull that out and it's actually reversed. So that may have been one issue that happened during the installation. There could be some cleanliness issues. I'm not calling out your tech or anything like that. I'm just saying that it has to be perfectly clean. See how this oil is running down right there? If it's not absolutely clean back here, you're going to have a leak no matter what. But I want to give a severe warning right here. These plugs, those will leak as well. So when you pull the cover off, I highly recommend you reseal those plugs. But here's the big warning, because this is critical. These are different size plugs. While they may thread in, one is longer than the other. So it has to go back into the correct hole. If not, you have a cracked block potentially, which is a very scary thing. Now, what you're describing on the email is actually that you have oil coming out so badly that it's hitting the rear bumper, and that means it's across the whole underside. So what I'm leaning towards is actually an issue with your rear main seal. Either this lip is rolled or it wasn't installed properly. At the dealer, we have a special tool that actually bolts on right here on the crank, and it will allow this to slip into place straight and perfectly flush with the crank. Now, that's a critical component that needs to be used, or a critical tool. So you do have dowel pins on there, and so it will help guide this into place properly. But I would want to focus on the cleanliness. See how this is all dripping down up there? You could have oil dripping down at all locations, but this needs to be absolutely perfectly clean. I would recommend, in your case, if you're doing all the work again, I would just buy a new cover piece and reinstall perfectly perfect. Now, for those of you wondering about what other oil leaks there are, let's get into those. This is your engine oil pan right here, and you can see that there's actually oil residue all along right here. Now, a common area for the engine oil pan to leak is just right up along the sides and the back side. This silicone right here, that is your rear cover. So in determining where your oil leak is, you really need to see how high up does this engine oil go. Now, just because you have engine oil back here does not mean that that's actually the issue. You need to find the source of it, and the source of it could actually be coming from the front. While we're on the engine oil pan, let me just point out that these drain plugs suck. Check that out. Look how thin that is, whereas this is the aftermarket one that I use on my personal truck. It has a magnet on the end of it. Now, I got this off of Amazon. Link will be in the description, but look at the difference, the height difference. That way you don't get a rounded out head like this one right there that I had to swap out. This is looking from the underside of the front of the vehicle. You can see right here, this is your engine front cover plate. And then this right here is another one of those block plugs. This is a very common area for the block to, or for an engine oil to leak at this plug. So I took this angle because we're looking at it from the bottom, which is typically how you would start your diagnosis, trying to see this. So we're going to get a closer look at this. Your engine may have one of these foam covers. This is plastic with foam on the backside, and if so, you're not going to be able to see very much at all. You'll have to take this off. Now this is in the SUVs and the LC0. So it's a 10mm bolt right up here, and then these just pop off. They need to be pulled out that way. So that cover needs to come off before you can really see very well. So hopefully you don't have one of these, because it makes it a lot more difficult to diagnose. If you do, it's kind of a pain to get it off. Once you get this bolt off right here, then you pop these off, pull it towards the front of the vehicle, and then lift it up to get that off of there. This is everything removed off of the front of it so we can see it a whole lot better. Here is your engine front cover with the front crank seal. You can see all of this oil mess right there. You can see the little push-in tabs that I was talking about where you pull the cover off of it. Now, there's the plug right there. That's the culprit. That's our leak right there. See what I mean? How there's all this oil down here? So it'll make you think that you've got an oil pan because it's all dripping down, when in fact it's actually coming from this plug, dripping down and just building up down there. So this plug can be removed, cleaned up, and then seal it back up. This is with the plug removed. You can see the amount of oil in there. You just want to clean all this off so it can have the best chance at sealing up. Here's a shot of the plug itself. Clean this off or get a new one. If you get a new one, it's going to come with thread sealant already on it. I like to use GMS on mine, but here it is with it all cleaned up for the most part. And here's the threads cleaned up. And here it is with the front surface all cleaned up. That has to be perfectly clean. And then you need to use a special tool to install this, which I'm going to show right here. Now that will allow it to go in just perfect. Slip it just in. Silicone cover goes back on. Before I let you go with all of the normal oil leaks, I'm going to tell you about one that I came across that actually I've seen a couple of this instance. Now what we're doing here is we're looking at the top of the vehicle or top of the engine. This is a loose bolt for the intake manifold, and what that is the bolts will loosen up and you'll actually start to drip oil because it's a closed PCV system. So if you're not able to find the source of the leak, there's definitely oddball locations that are possible, and this intake manifold is one. Hopefully all this stuff helps you find your engine oil leak or have a better understanding of it. Let me know if you have any questions. Send them to my email. I'll answer yours specifically on a video as well. Till next time, see ya.